Welcome everyone back to another episode of Exotic Land. As you probably know, this is my African Sulcata, or also known as the spurred tortoise. And today I'm just going to be teaching you guys how you can care for, oh there it is, little girl just coming out of a hide, how you can care for one of these African spurred tortoises. And yeah, so basics, of course, is food, water, hydration, heat, and all of that good stuff. So let's start off with feeding. For feeding your African spurred tortoise, you want you don't want to feed it a constant diet. So let's say for the chameleon, for example, you would feed it crickets every day, like crickets or something like that, as a constant diet, because that's what they want. But for African spurred tortoises, you want to give them a varied diet. So, for example, as you can see here, what this is a dandelion leaf. It's like a weed in Britain. I'm pretty sure it's all over the place. But you want to feed them dandelion leaves, and right here is rose petals. They're like a good rose petals. And some people think they don't eat veg and fruit. They always eat veg and fruit. We have some hay here just boxed up right now, so whenever we give it to her, because their high percentage of their diet should be hay and grasses and hay. And I do feed her some grasses and hay every so often, but usually I feed her these beautiful veg and dandelion leaves. And yes, so if you want to keep your tortoise nice and healthy, you want to always constantly do that. Where is she? Right now, I'm pretty sure she's getting out from the insane heat from this. So you give them a water too. Water is a very important thing for your African spurred tortoises. So right here, it's just a bowl, and what the bowl is there, it just stays there. So that also counts as water source. So whenever she wants, she can come drink in here. But it also counts as a spare bath. You've got to bath the African spurred tortoise every single day for around 15 to 30 minutes. I do that every single day. That's for babies. Babies, you soak them every day for 15 to 30 minutes. And then that's just there if it ever wants to cool off, or if it just wants to drink. That's the only reason that's there. Some people may think it is quite deep. It is quite deep, but it's a good temperature for that tortoise. Anyway, and then let's go to heating now. Right now we have a 200 watts. I'm pretty sure this is a 200 watts UV lamp, and it's the thing that brings the heat for the tortoise. As you can see right there, it's the UV lamp. It just hangs from up here and it shines onto the entire enclosure except for her hide, because she wants this to be nice and sheltered for her. So yeah, this just shines on the entire enclosure and it warms up the entire enclosure. For your African spurred tortoise, you're looking around about 30 to 32 degrees as the hot spot for them. So around about here, it should be around about, see where this tracker is? That goes all the way to this, which right now is at 26. But that's just because I've opened up the enclosure, so all the hot air is leaving. But that's okay still. 26 degrees is the perfect roaming temperature for the entire rest of the enclosure. For this substrate, we're using cocoa fiber, I'm pretty sure. But the good thing about this is when you dig down, see how it's turning moist. So when she burrows, which she doesn't really do much, I have nothing to worry about. Sometimes burrows collapse on your African spurred tortoise. That's mostly if they're outside. So if you are going to do that, you need to take proper precaution. But if I dig a hole right here and I concave it kinda, it's not collapsing. And there's one reason for that, is because the substrate is nice and moist, and it's just not like that, seriously. It's just so yeah, I'd recommend using cocoa fiber, but some other YouTubers or some other people would recommend other substrates like wooden shavings, stuff like that. I wouldn't really use that. I would mostly use this cocoa fiber. And this rock here is to warm up. Well, the carapace is the top of the shell, the first thing you see. You know what? Let me get the baby tortoise out so I can actually show you her. So this is our baby tortoise. We don't know if she's male or female yet. I call it a girl all the time, but I don't actually know. This right here is called a carapace. This is a 7-month-old African spur tortoise. As you can tell, look at the size of that. That's already a pretty big tortoise. I'm going to be completely honest, I have forgot the name of this bottom of this shell, but I will research it and I will edit into the video the name of the bottom of this shell. Anyway, so this is my African spurred tortoise. She is only 7 months old, so at 7 months old she is quite big, to be honest. So, and then she eats what you want to do is you want to feed your tortoise. What I want to do is what I like to do is feed it small amounts every single day. If you don't want to do that, you can feed it big amounts every 2 days a week. So 2 days a week, feed it big amounts, and it's good for the week. But I like to feed it small little pieces every single day, so then it's better growth, And then for the nutrition value, you want to find, a store bought produce that you can buy at the supermarket and stuff like that. Those fruit and veggies have very high protein and everything this tortoise will need. So I would recommend doing research first on what you can feed this tortoise. I'll do a completely other video what you can feed the tortoise, but do your own research and how to figure out not figure out, but what you need to feed the tortoise. I've done a bunch of research to bring all this knowledge to you right now. So yeah, you need to make sure you know all the things you're doing and what you're getting yourself into. But I wish I could show you like an adult tortoise right now, but I don't own one. But you're looking at around about a 50 kilogram plus tortoise when it's full grown at an adult. If you don't have the space and you're not prepared for that 50 kilogram tortoise, I won't recommend getting one. These dudes grow big, fast. So I want you to make sure that you are prepared for a massive tortoise in no time. 1 year, you're looking at a good sized tortoise. 2 years, bigger. 10 years, it's bigger, like probably there to probably around about over there. So it's a massive tortoise already. So yeah, this enclosure would be a squeeze for it, literally. That's how big they will get. I would recommend this size enclosure. It's a pretty big. She has a lot of space to roam, and to make sure you're looking at for a healthy tortoise, you want to make sure you've seen it active. I've seen her active. You've seen her eat. I've seen her eat. She takes a bath every single day. I've seen her drink. So I know she's healthy, and I know she's such a beautiful little tortoise. Now, let's go on some issues of tortoise's health. There's something called pyramiding. If you didn't know what pyramiding is, it's like a bumps on the shell. So around about the carapace, you will see deformity on the shells. Some people completely freak out over pyramiding. I would recommend to calm down and not freak out too much about pyramiding, because it commonly in captive tortoise. So if my tortoise gets pyramiding, I'd understand it's kind of normal for tortoises to get pyramiding in captivity. But to try your best to prevent this pyramiding, I'm going to give you some ways that it happens and some ways that you can prevent this pyramiding. So pyramiding can be caused by growing up too quick. This can be prevented by slowing down on the feeding and, making sure you're not overfeeding it, so the growth intake is just growing, like increasing like mad. So you want to make sure you're calming down on that. Like I told you, small pieces every single day will make it slow and steady growth, which is exactly what you want. Low hydration is a big issue for this pyramiding, because if you don't feed it enough, or if it does not get enough water or nutritional value that it needs, then of course bad things will happen. Now, in other ways you can higher the hydration is simply spraying this soil, this substrate that you have, because for the bottom of the shell, it can take in or can feel this moisture in a way from the soil, which is amazing. So every day, spray down your enclosure for the tortoise. You're probably thinking they're from the Sahara, which is into the Sahara Desert. It's like the southern, I think, the southern fringe of the Sahara Desert. So they have a monsoon season. So we want to have like a monsoon season constantly, because we want the hydration to be nice and healthy, to make sure no pyramiding is going to happen. other stuff that can cause this is feeding the wrong foods. That's the whole reason I'm going to do a whole video on what foods they can eat, treats, don't eat, and then kinda can eat, like not so often. So I'm gonna do a whole video on that soon. So stay tuned for that if you want to see that. And then not enough UVB lighting can cause this too. So see this right here. This is on for 12 to 14 hours a day, and then they should get the rest of those hours sleeping. We have a day and night cycle, so what would first happen, this will turn off, this UVB lighting will turn off, and then this will turn off. I have spare lighting, 2 lighting. I'm pretty sure that gives it the like nutrients that it kind of needs, and that gives it the heat that it needs. To be honest, I would recommend putting your tortoise outside to make sure it gets in that natural sunlight. But I'm in Britain right now, and it's winter right now, so having natural sunlight on this tortoise is kind of impossible because it's like 7 degrees today. That's not ideal for this. But as soon as it turns summer and 20 degrees and something like that, it rises. We never get to 32. It maybe rarely, but we won't really. Once we do that, I will bring it outside daily to make sure it gets that natural sunlight. Other stuff that can cause this pyramiding is diet is too high in protein. For example, let's say if I give it, let me think of a food in very high protein. To be honest, I'm not really sure what food is in high protein. Let's just go with a fruit, strawberries for example. If I feed it strawberries every single day, that's quite high in protein and vitamins and all that. That would definitely cause the pyramiding to happen on the tortoise. But like I said, do not worry about the pyramiding at all. It happens normally. If it happens to my tortoise, it happens to my tortoise. It doesn't really affect its growth too much, but it doesn't really affect the tortoise at all. Now let's talk about enrichment. As you can see, we have a bunch of plants splattered around the enclosure, but it's not actually in the enclosure because I didn't want it to eat it. But if you want to, you can grow your own stuff. As you can see, this looks like a plain empty box, but that's tomatoes, and tomatoes is a good treat for these dudes. So once that grows up, we can harvest the tomatoes and feed it to this. We're also going to be buying hibiscus leaves and prickly pear cactus and growing it here in my house, and we can grow it up and feed it organic food. It's always good to grow your own food because then it's organic and fresh, which is perfect for the tortoise. And then let's talk about different enrichment. This here, it probably just looks like, well, a bone. It looks like a bone. This is a cuttlefish bone. It's a good enrichment for your African Sulcata tortoise. They will, as you can see, she's chipped away quite a bit. If you chip, if they will kind of chew it in a way, they could eat it and they chip it. That will chip their beak and it won't be too sharp, or it can sharpen the beak, which is amazing. You want a sharpened beak, but not too sharpened beak, so they can pierce through some of these vegetables and fruits and weeds and stuff. So, key things: always make sure your African Sulcata has water available. Calcium dust, which is this what I use. I use the Pro Rep. You can't really see it, can I? There we go. I use the Pro Rep calcium dust twice a week. You want to put it on twice a week. So they say you want to put it on Monday and Thursday is what I do. Monday and Thursdays twice a week. I say, that way you can put that on. Also, this is for people who have bigger African Sulcata tortoise. If you have multiple, make sure you keep balanced groups. If you keep balanced group, let's say small with small, big with big, because if you have a small African Sulcata, let's say my baby tortoise right here, and then a big full grown, it will just kill it, instantly kill it. So you want to make sure that it's similar sizes, so no deaths are caused by these African Sulcata tortoises. So yeah, something people don't know is they love humidity, absolutely love humidity. So what I'm going to do right now is actually mist down this enclosure. A nice big mist like this, as you can see, is perfect for these African Sulcatas, as they can enjoy this moisture. People think they don't because they're from the Sahara Desert, but please, mist down your enclosure every single day. It's good for them and it's amazing for them and it's just absolutely amazing. But make sure the lighting you have can dry it off in a couple of hours. They like moist, but they don't like being soaked constantly. So right now it is kind of wet. She will travel in here nice and cool. But this will, in like a couple of hours, this will absolutely soak all this up and there'll be none left by a couple of hours, which is amazing for that to happen, because then I will not have this tortoise being cold and wet and soggy constantly, which we do not want. So guys, I'm pretty sure that's going to wrap up how to care for your African Sulcata tortoise. I talked about feeding, I talked about water. Make sure you have water always available. Remember, bath time 15 to 30 minutes. Heating, make sure you have it constantly up. You want it to 32 degrees in the entire enclosure. Around roaming temperature can be around 28 degrees. You want to make sure it has light up there. As you can see, that light gives it nice vitamin D and everything. And yeah, so you want to make sure you have water, food, lighting. Enrichment can be plants or cuttlefish bone. I recommend cuttlefish bone. That means your plants will be destroyed. And yeah, so, and to prevent pyramiding, well, I've told you all the ways to prevent it and what can cause it. So thank you all for watching, guys. Please can you like and subscribe if you did enjoy today's video, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.